Feel free to ask questions later. There'll be a Q&A portion. So I'll be just, hi, Jonathan. So I'll be sharing more about Generation, about the work that we do, what makes us unique from other training providers. And then later on, Khadija will share about GetReadySG, this program that you are interested, right? So just want to highlight as well that we are focusing on the program Junior Data Engineering and Full Stack Developer Program. All right, so again, the session is recorded and the slides will also be sent to you after the session. All right. Okay, so a quick intro about us. So let's just give me an agenda for today. So who's Generation, in case this is your first time hearing about us? We are a global independent nonprofit organization, and our mission is to train, place, and support people of all ages into life-changing careers that were previously inaccessible to them. So we are actually built on deep research into the best ways to address youth unemployment. That was our history way back in 2014. So we're a global nonprofit. We work across 16 countries at the moment. We're now 7 years old. Training and placing disconnected job seekers, also mid-career learners into different professions across tech, healthcare, customer service, and skilled trades. So again, till date, we now have supported about 46,000 graduates at 83% job placement rate, and more than 70% continue to be employed after 6 months their graduation from Generation. And in Singapore, I just want to share that we are a registered charity. So we started in 2018 in collaboration with Skills Future Singapore and public and private institutes to support Singaporean job seekers to different professions. So we have run programs in digital marketing, patient service associate, engineering, customer service associated as well. Okay, next slide. Okay, so yeah, the sessions, full stack developer. Yes, you are right, Verlin. Full stack developer and business intelligence. Yes, that's right. So what's unique with Generation? This is our 7-step methodology or impact model. I run through this with you quickly. So just make sure that you understand what is unique with Generation. This is the tried and tested methodology applied to all our programs across the globe. And typically at Generation, what we want to highlight is even before we start a program, we identify an in-demand entry-level role, and then we design a curriculum based on the employer's needs. So we start with jobs first before we do training. And then we recruit people from a range of channels who are currently facing barriers to employment. And then we evaluate the applicants based on aptitude, motivation to launch a career. And you'll be able to see that the application steps and how comprehensive it is once you jump ahead to apply in the program. And then we deliver a practice-based curriculum, which trains technical skills, not only technical skills, but also behavior, mindsets for the role in the learner. So it's like soft skills. And then upon completion of the learners bootcamp or the programs, the employers will be able to interview and then hire our graduates. That drives value to the employer and delivering a transformative impact on the learners. And then another thing, we also offer social support and mentorship to ensure that our alumni continue to perform at their best during and even after the program. And then the last 2 steps is the return on investment data. So these 2 steps go hand in hand as we gather data and feedback from our learners, instructors, and even employers to continuously improve our curriculum and make sure that there's return on investment. And next slide. Okay, just to hear some more from you, so it's not just us talking most of the time, we'll have a quick poll, guys. So which sentence here do you identify the most? A is you're interested in reskilling and upskilling, or you're considering all your other options, or C, you're ready to get a full-time job in tech. So we'll give you a few seconds. So, okay, let's wait for a few more. Let's wait for a few more. I have 33 responding. Okay, a few more. She identified the most. Okay, last 5 seconds for the rest. 5, 4, 3, 2. in case you change your mind, suddenly you okay. All right. I think we're ready to share the results. All right, so half of you, slightly more than half, 53%, interested in reskilling and upskilling. That's wonderful. That's great. And 28% of you are considering all your options. And we have a small group as well, 20% ready to get a full-time job in tech. Wow, that's wonderful. We hope that you will go ahead and apply. All right, thank you. Thank you so much for participating in the poll. And now let me pass the time to our Marketing and Recruitment Associate Manager, Khadija, who will go through with you the details of the GetReadySG programs. Okay, over to you, Khadija.
Great, thank you, Leslie. And thanks everyone for your participation in the polls. So I'll take you through the first section of today's information session, and I'll introduce the programs and the roles that will help you launch a career in tech. So for those of you who indicated that you're interested in upskilling and reskilling and you're considering your options, hopefully this will give you an idea of what you can expect. Okay, so what is GetReadySG? GetReadySG is a national skills initiative that was co-created by Microsoft and Generation Singapore in partnership with IMDA, Skills Future Singapore, and Temasek Polytechnic. The initiative hopes to upskill about 1,000 job seekers over a 2-year period and match them with meaningful employment opportunities, specifically in technology. So here's a video of the Generation Singapore CEO, Pratik Hegde, introducing the GetReadySG initiative.
GetReadySG is actually an initiative that Microsoft and Generation came together with the government of Singapore to help Singaporeans with no or minimal tech background to get into tech careers. One, extensive involvement of employers. Number two, the learning, design and experience. And number three, the wraparound support and mentorship that is provided throughout. 70% of the learning that happens in GetReadySG is practical. You're not really listening to just lectures that's coming in through your instructor, but actually practicing in small groups in real life situations that we will try and simulate. And these are inspired by actual observations and inputs that we have gotten from companies. All this ensures that you will learn to learn. We have learners from really diverse backgrounds. Most of them don't have a technology background. Either they are university graduates in non-technology disciplines, have been working in different sectors, and now because of COVID, they've either lost their job or they've voluntarily decided to make a transition into technology because they see an opportunity. The big thing that we're looking for when we select someone to become a GetReadySG learner is, are you really motivated to make the career transition? The journey is not going to be easy, but you have help along the way. Our aim is to help you get into a good tech jobs. It's not just upskilling, not just reskilling, to make sure that you are successful in the job that you're going to get into.
So what are the SGUP-CT programs? The ones that we're highlighting today are part of the GetReadySG initiative. So SGUP-CT, if you've not heard of it before, stands for SG United Mid-Career Pathways Program, Company Training. And these are skills future programs designed for job seekers and mid-career professionals who are looking to gain in-demand digital skills and enter a career in the fast-growing tech sector. So the three programs we offer are Junior Full Stack Developer, Cloud Support and DevOps, and Business Intelligence and Data Analyst. So the kinds of job roles that are available to you after you complete these programs are Junior Full Stack Developer, Cloud Support and DevOps Engineer, and Junior Data Engineer for the Business Intelligence and Data Analyst program. So each program will train you for an entry-level position in any of these broad roles. And so since today we are focusing on the Junior Full Stack Developer program and the Business Intelligence and Data Analyst program, we'll take a closer look at the two roles that are related to the programs. So what is a junior full stack developer? Essentially, the responsibility of any full stack developer is to write code to design and implement software, whether it's web-based or for an application. As a full stack developer, you'll work on both the front end and all the client-facing side of the front end, which is the client-facing side of the software, and on the back end, which is the side of the software that the customers will never see, but the other developers will. So a junior full stack developer will also work on things like documenting code, discussing product requirements with clients and product teams, as well as spend time daily fixing bugs or errors or adding features to the company's software. Right, and so for a junior data engineer, data engineers are vital in business intelligence and handling activities that relate to data management. So you'll build and maintain data structures and pipelines to collect, store, and analyze data at scale. So data engineers are the people who will convert raw data into usable information so that other people like data scientists and business analysts can interpret them. You'll also ensure that the company will be able to navigate like huge amounts of data smoothly and securely. So you can see here that the expected starting salary range for each of these entry-level roles are about 3,000 to 4,500 Singapore dollars per month. Okay, so now that you've heard more about the roles, maybe you're wondering what role would suit you and your skills best. So if you visit the link shown on the quiz, you'll visit the link shown on the screen, you'll be directed to a self-evaluation quiz. That's on our website, and the quiz will ask you some questions about yourself and give you a suggestion on what role might be suitable for you. So what we also recommend is that after you get the quiz and your results, there will be a programming language that you might be suggested to try or recommended to try. We recommend that you actually do go ahead and try these free self-paced courses that have role-relevant coding courses, and that will help you figure out whether you enjoy that kind of programming. We also recommend spending some time and checking out the video playlist that we have put together, and this might help you understand what the day-to-day work of any of these roles look like and what are the differences between the three roles. So ultimately we say that deciding on which program suits you best will require a lot of your own personal reflection of your professional experiences and determining which area of tech that you're actually most interested in, as well as a combination of having hands-on experience with some programming languages. We always encourage our applicants to do as much research as possible before applying, because we want to make sure that you'll be in the right program when you do join us. Okay, so now that you know a little bit more about the program roles, I'm sure you're also curious about our past learners who are our current learners who are in the program. So let me share with you a few learner profiles just to give you an idea of the people who are enrolled in our program. So you can see that some of our learner profiles are varied in age. Like we have people from their 20s, 30s, we have people in their 50s, not necessarily anyone with only degrees. We also have people with like diploma programs. They don't have a tech background or education background or work. Some people may have come to us who are unemployed. Some people are mid-career professionals who want to explore other career opportunities. I think the one thing that they have in common is that they have an interest in tech and that they know that this is the career pivot that they want to make. Okay, some other data from our learners. So about 65% actually do come to us without a background in tech. So if you're watching today and you realize that like, you don't know anything about what coding languages are out there or what programming might even look like, don't worry, you're in the right place. 39% of our learners are above 40 years old, and about 87% of them have not been in school for more than a year, and that just means that they haven't been enrolled in full-time study for more than a year. Okay, so once you've decided what program to apply to and you've been accepted, this is what this is the journey of a learner in our programs. So you'll start off with an orientation where you'll meet your classmates. You'll also meet your program manager and your learner success associate, and they're the key people from the Generation Singapore team who will be there to support you throughout your journey. After the orientation, you'll start the 3-month training bootcamp, and this is where you'll pick up your core technical skills that you need for the role. So the training bootcamp is delivered by Temasek Polytechnic and will be from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., 5 days a week. At the moment, all the classes are online because of COVID restrictions, but should we be able to return to the classroom, there will be a blend of in-person at Temasek Polytechnic and online learning lessons. So after the 3-month bootcamp, you'll embark on your apprenticeship at a partner company for up to 6 months. Based on all the learners that we currently have in our programs right now, all of them, so like 100% of the learners, have been matched into company apprenticeships. And so throughout the program, you'll also have support from a mentor who is an industry practitioner. And you will hear later from some mentors in this evening session about their experience. For learners who haven't found a full-time job by the end of the apprenticeship, the Generation Singapore team will provide job placement assistance. So ideally, we want to make sure that at the end of the 9-month program, you'll graduate and be in full-time employment. So as of now, about 75% of our intake 1 learners have either secured a job or have gotten verbal confirmation from their host employers. So the people who, the companies that they're working with for apprenticeship have verbally agreed that they will convert them to full-time employees. Okay, so since the program is full-time and can be intensive, here are some of our expectations of your commitment as a learner. So things like attend 100% of classes, except for when you have a medical reason not to, be present and participate in the activities in class, be active in your self-learning outside of the classroom, and most of all, own your job search process as well by doing your own job search and keeping the program team informed about your progress. Okay, so because this is an SG United program, and it is funded by SkillsFuture, there are some eligibility criteria that you have to meet. So these criteria that you must be a Singapore citizen or a permanent resident above the age of 21. If you graduated from an ITE, polytechnic or university, you should have graduated before 2019. And if you had to do national service, you should have completed your national service before 2019 as well. And most importantly, have not attended any SGUS or SGUP program before. So when we evaluate applicants, we do look for those without work or work or education experience in tech, those who are motivated to start a full-time job after completing training, and anyone whose job has been affected by the pandemic. So PMETs, gig economy workers, mothers who are returning to the workforce. For this program, the fee is $750. If you're a Singapore citizen, all of it is SkillsFuture claimable. And you can also receive an allowance of up to $1,500 a month while you study and while you are on apprenticeship. Okay, so I'm sure you're interested to hear about what you're going to learn. And since we're focusing on 2 programs tonight, I'll show you an overview of what's covered in the 3-month training bootcamp. But not to worry, you will also get these slides after tonight's session, so you can always refer back to them. So this is for the Junior Full Stack Developer program. And this is for the Business Intelligence and Data Analyst Bootcamp. Okay, so there are a few other key components of the generation programs that give an edge to our GetReadySG SGUPCT programs. The first is apprenticeship. So this is an on-the-job training component with that provides the opportunity for you to apply the skills that you learned in the bootcamp under the supervision and guidance of experts, while continuing to earn the training allowance of $1,500 each month. The next is mentorship. So trainees actually receive mentorship from Generation's network of tech mentors. With these coaches' experience, they will guide you outside of the learning environment to cope with any professional challenges that you have during the training period. And the third pillar is support. So as a Generation learner, you'll have access to well-being support, employment support, and placement assistance. Our team of program managers and learner success associates will check in with you regularly to ensure that you're coping and doing well in your career change. So here's some examples of our employer partners, part of our employer network. Currently, we have about 44 employer partners in our network who have taken on around 380 or so learners in their apprenticeship program. And here is mentorship that I mentioned earlier. So the objective of mentorship is to build a supporting and trusting environment for the learner during and after the bootcamp. And here are some examples of employment support. So we hold workshops with industry experts, as well as conduct employment-related workshops like LinkedIn workshops, and just to help you make sure that you're putting your best foot forward in your job search. Okay, so if you want to be a part of the program, you'll need to complete an application. So I'll just quickly go through what the application process will look like for both the Junior Full Stack Developer program and the Business Intelligence and Data Analyst program. So this is an overview of our application process. The length of the process will depend on the program that you are applying for. So for Junior Full Stack Developer, it should take you about 4 hours, and for Business Intelligence and Data Analyst, it might take you around 6 hours or so to complete. Now, you don't have to complete the application in one sitting. I know it can sound very daunting to hear that number, but we do recommend that you complete each single stage at one time before you take a break. So I'll briefly cover some parts of the application process. So after you register for an account, you'll start by answering some questions about yourself and ensuring that you are eligible for the program based on the criteria that I shared earlier. So if you are unsure if you are eligible or not, you can reach out to us via email before you start the application to find out whether you'll be able to apply. Okay, next you'll be asked to review some program information and acknowledge your understanding of the learner expectations and commitments. For the Junior Full Stack Developer program, you'll be given an hour to take a cognitive skills test, then you'll complete a technical task. So you'll complete the first module of Codecademy's Introduction to HTML course. It's a free course on Codecademy, and then there'll be instructions on what to do to complete and submit a task. For Business Intelligence and Data Analyst program, you'll also be given an hour to take a cognitive skills test. Then you'll watch a short video to understand more about the data engineer role and complete a Python programming language quiz. So before you attempt the quiz, you'll first have to complete 3 Udacity's Intro to Python Programming course, and then you'll be given about an hour to complete the quiz. So something to note is that in between the logic tests and the technical assessments, you can always take a break and continue your application on another day or later in the day. But while you're doing the test and assessment, you cannot move back and forth or cannot return to a previous stage in the application. Okay, so the final step to complete your application is to complete a recorded interview using the HireVue platform. You'll be given 4 questions to answer at random. There's no time limit on how long you take to prepare your answer to record your response. So you can take your time to think through your responses and provide as much relevant information as possible. The interview should take you about 15 to 20 minutes to complete, depending on how long you spend to prepare. Yeah, so some general things I can share about the interviews. We're looking to hear more about your motivation to make a career change into tech, why you chose a specific role, and also we want to hear about the research that you've done to make sure that the role is right for you. Okay, so after submitting your application, you'll hear from us usually between 8 to 10 working days after you've completed the interview stage. If you're shortlisted, you'll receive an email with instructions on how to register with Temasek Polytechnic and how to make payment to secure your spot in the cohort. And something important to note is that we evaluate and select candidates based on first come, first serve basis. And so that means it is possible that we stop accepting applications earlier than the application deadline if we've already reached capacity for class size. So here are the start dates for our upcoming and final cohorts. We're currently accepting applications for the 2 programs highlighted. For the Business Intelligence and Data Analyst program, the deadline will be on the 18th of January next year. And for Full Stack Developer, the deadline will be the 23rd of February next year. So if you're interested in joining, we encourage you to apply soon because these are our final SGUPCT cohorts. So now I'll pass the time back to Leslie, who'll take us through the next section of our webinar.
Okay, great. Thank you, Hadija. So I hope you all had better understanding about programs, a lot more details to understand. So thank you for listening. I just see a few questions in the chat. If you have a question, just type it in the Q&A. So we'll answer that later, or Wishan will also answer once in a while. Okay, so just use the Q&A button. So these are just a few photos of our intake graduations. and a few sharing from our learners that they post in LinkedIn, how happy they are celebrating their successes, a few learner testimonials as well. So we won't go through this at this moment, but we, as mentioned, we will share with you the slides. Feel free to read their stories there and their sharing. All right, so now we move on to the next part, our learner and mentor sharing and the reality talk. So we are very privileged to have 4 panelists tonight. We have Kurby, he's a principal solutions architect in Mixpanel. We have Aznita from Program Manager on Facebook. We have Lina Cherng, she's from Intake 1 Junior Full Stack Developer Program, and Francis Lau from Business Intelligence and Data Analyst Program. And we're glad to share that both of them were offered conversion from their host companies in CapitaLand and NTT Data. So let me call now first Lina to do her sharing. Over to you, Lina.
All right. I got all nostalgic when you guys were going through the whole application process. So I think the sense will be that, I mean, if I'm an attendee, it's like always very overwhelming. There are a lot of things to do, but don't worry, because once you start the process, you wouldn't feel overwhelmed. And also another tip. Actually, I don't think people are aware that I was actually interested in both programs, Data Analyst and GFSD. So the tech quiz really helped me in deciding, because like after doing both quizzes, it was very solidly GFSD. So I would encourage people who are really not very clear like what programs they want, like even if it's cloud, just go and take the quiz, because the quiz, there's no pass or fail, it just tell you that what you're most suited for. So as for the bootcamp experience, it has been nothing but wonderful, sensational, and I really keep my fingers crossed that you get a hybrid where you get to go to TP and also online, because sometimes it's really very easy. It's much easier to build camaraderie in school, and also like just to check with either your classmates or the trainer about a certain code, because I mean, we can do it online, but then, you know, like if you look at lines and lines of code, it can get quite intense. But that said, online, there's also the enjoyment part. So what I heard is that you guys are very lucky, and I'm not being paid to say this, but you'll be getting the same trainer as me, and she is sensational, trust me. And so what happens is that there's a lot of support, not just from the trainer, but also from Generation. And it's a very well-rounded program, simply because, I mean, like I talk to my friends, and then some maybe like associates, and they take courses from also like maybe SG United or yeah. And then what happens is that the level of support that we get is really very different. Like what you see when Khadija shared with you just now is really, they will go out of their way to support you. Like I hope they won't kill me, but sometimes like even late at night, right, you can actually reach out to them, but don't quote me on this. Yeah. So and what I really appreciate is that bootcamp is when you get really a solid foundation, right? And then apprenticeship is when you get the real hands-on, like the so-called real experience. And for my experience, I'm very lucky, like, because CapitaLand was my very first choice. I got in, and then like right from the very start, I guess there was a very good match between my expectations and what they were hoping to get out of the candidate. So like even right from the start, I never felt that I was either an intern or an apprentice, because they involved me like even in day-to-day. So I get to, sometimes I even get to crack the whip with the colleagues, like even if they are managers, and like technically I'm just an exec, but then it's like, yeah, you just do whatever you want. And then I also get to work with vendors, and yeah, so it's like internal and external. So it was a very, very good overall experience. And as for Generation, they also go out their way, like what they mentioned, like your mental health and everything, just simply because like mid-career switchers like us. Oh, I forgot to mention, my background is in digital marketing. So but even if you have like zero tech marketing tech experience, what happens is that they will really hold your hand. They will always make sure there are always like milestones and checkpoints where it's like, what's your comfort zone? Are you feeling stressed? All this, because then they will arrange like whether you're struggling with maybe the bootcamp or maybe like you need help. And also in addition, they will arrange a mentor for us. So then, I mean, most of them are tech related, but even if, because my first mentor, interestingly, is a banker. So then, but that doesn't mean that you don't get to benefit from the mentorship, because in addition to asking about tech and like how do you enter the industry, you can also ask about things like how does my LinkedIn look? Can you help me boost up my resume and things like that? Yep.
All right, wonderful. Thank you so much, Lina. And again, congratulations for being converted in your host company. We really celebrate with your success. Thank you also for the disclaimer. We did not pay you anything for this testimony sharing. And talking about mentor, you know, Lina shared that her mentor is such a great help for her. And we invite Kurby, also one of our dedicated mentors, for his sharing. Over to you, Kurby.
All right, cool. So just a quick introduction of myself. As you know, the previous slide, I'm principal consultant, solutions architect specifically, as well as an implementation manager at Mixpanel. I've been in the tech industry and in various verticals for about 20 over years now. So that's probably, you can guess my age from that by me saying that. So I would say, you know, at least in the current days, when in the past, when I started off in the tech industry, it was not that rampant yet. There's a lot of people who, you know, had skill set, but literally now, because of the tech boom and all these different solutions that's out there, like every day there's a new app being released, right? Like, you know, booking apps, from all the way from like grabbing a ride and all the way to like booking restaurants. So the tech industry has literally boomed and exploded. And so there's literally really a tech crunch out there, which is why I'm very happy that this program is there, is to literally build the next generation of tech leaders. And I would say my experience as a mentor with generations is really very fulfilling. I have two mentors who, to me, they've already graduated because they've already found a job through the program. And I'm very happy for that. And it's really a fulfilling, you know, again, I'm not being paid to be a mentor or anything. It's purely voluntary, just that disclaimer. So, and I think as a mentor, what I wanted to see for the future generations of tech leaders is to really be able to like use your skill set. When you start off as a non-tech and literally go into the tech industry, what I would really encourage you is that don't downplay yourself. Like in whatever industry you come from, like definitely use those experience and add that tech sort of dimension into your own experience to really go into this space, right? So tech is a very exciting sort of industry that everyone wants to go into. And obviously, like not everyone has that background, but all I could say is that, you know, if you go into my LinkedIn profile, just, you know, look up for me, you'll see that I've been into different industry that I totally zero knowledge and basically like learn along the way. So it's great that Generation has this program that allows you kind of like that stepping stone. So definitely try the program. You know, the mentors are great. You know, they'll guide you along the way. Like as Lina has mentioned, like I've been asked to kind of, hey, can you take a look at my LinkedIn? Take a look at my CV. And as mentors, like for me, I'm in the tech industry. I know what a tech manager or a hiring manager would probably be looking for. So we as mentors kind of like help you to kind of fine tune your CVs and your LinkedIn so that, you know, you have the keywords that, you know, the tech manager or whoever is the hiring manager would be able to pick up, you know, the skill set. And again, that's just the tip of the iceberg, right? Like going through the apprenticeship program, being a mentor as well, you know, will guide you along the way. I have sessions with my mentees, catching up at least 3 times, once every 3 times a week. I chat with them like over Slack, and that kind of like builds that camaraderie, right? Like they would come to me, hey, I have this problem or I'm encountering this issue with my work. Like, how do I deal with it? Like, how would you deal with it? So we kind of like act as your kind of like advisor. don't expect, just one disclaimer as well, don't expect the mentor to know everything. Like I've been in the industry for 20 over years, right? But there's a lot of things that in the tech industry that I don't know. So don't expect that, hey, mentor, like, I have this code thing, like help you like code this. No, the mentor is not there to like do the work for you. The mentor is there to guide you and to like challenge you in terms of how you think, in how you integrate into the tech industry. So that you can count on the mentors to actually do that and help you along the way. Towards the end of the session, there's a Q&A, so happy to kind of like take any questions. But like I said, whoever the mentor that you're partner with, definitely leverage on their experience, leverage on their advice. And at the end of the day, my last piece of advice, as a mentor, is that don't be afraid to learn anything that is new, because like I'm still learning, even though I'm 20 over years in the industry. Every day I face challenges, every day I'm learning, because the moment you stop learning, that's the end of your career, right? Being in tech or being in any industry. And I guess the second thing of advice is that don't neglect your mentor. They are there, they give you advice because they've been in that road. So definitely listen to your mentor. I'm pretty sure whatever words of wisdom that they impart to you, it's really worth more than 2 cents. Yeah. So, all right. So I'm gonna end and then let someone else share.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kurby. And our disclaimer, it's not a paid testimonial, but thank you. I like what you shared, that, your mentor doesn't know everything. He's not your Superman or what, that they're just there to guide and challenge you. Thank you also for sharing that, as a newbies in the tech industry, they shouldn't be downplaying themselves. A lot of transferable skills that they can bring over as they switch into their career. Thank you, Kurby. For the questions, again, like what Kurby shared, use the Q&A button. And if you have specific questions for any of our panelists, you can also mention it, like question for Lina, question for Aznita, or questions for Kurby. Just type it in the Q&A button. We'll address that later. Thank you, Kurby. And now let's pass the time over to Francis Lau, also from Intake One, and who also got an offered conversion from his host company in NTT Data. So Francis, over to you.
Oh, hi. Okay. I'm also not paid for sharing, huh? Yeah, I'm Francis. It's a pleasure to be here with you all. I'm pleased to be here to share my experience in my mid-career change journey through this program. I joined as the first intake in the Business Intelligence and Data Analytics program. My mid-career change happened at a time when I'm not far away from the retirement age, the official retirement age. My background, I do not have IT background, nor do I have any coding experience. Therefore, at the time when I applied for this program, which is at the beginning of this year, my confidence was not really high, but my interest and my determination was very strong. This strong determination is also driven by my optimism that there is a strong demand for digital skills in the economy. So if I invest in this skill, I thought there would be a good chance of securing a job. Other encouraging factors that I chose and applied for this program are the training program, and I see that the training program and curriculum is being put together and delivered by a reputable institution like Generations, Microsoft, and Temasek Poly. And because these are renowned institutions, my trust and confidence in the program was somehow lifted. Furthermore, I mean, there is also a government financial support, so it's like we are paid to pursue our dreams, so why not, right? So I went through the 9 months program, which comprises the first part 3 months bootcamp, followed by a 6-month apprenticeship. My faith in the program turned into reality. The JDE, the Business Intelligence and Data Analytics programs is appealing because it covers both data analytics and data engineering, so that we are exposed to a wider data professional spectrum. So throughout the 9 months, the experience throughout was always positive for me, having lots of new friends, and you see your knowledge and your confidence growing, and you are being transformed. So I must say this positive experience is partly attributed to the passionate effort of Generation, the very carefully designed and curriculum, the passionate teachers and the mentors who are also eager to even to see your success. So they want you to be successful. So it's something I truly appreciate. I must, however, also add that the bigger driver of your success comes from yourself, your hard work and your determination. You have to be passionate in the learning yourself too. The bootcamp is reasonably tough, but it accelerates your transformation. So hope this sharing is encouraging for all of you.
Thank you so much, Francis. Very tough bootcamp, but I'm sure it's all worth it. I like what you share about passion, hard work, determination, optimism. And these are the things that, we also reinforce in the program, having that growth mindset, persistence and all. And we're glad that these are the things that you have in the program. And congratulations again to you, Francis. And our last but not least panelists, pass the time to Aznita, also one of our mentors in the program. Over to you, Aznita.
Thanks, Leslie, and thanks, Francis, for sharing as well. That was very inspiring, making that career change. I similarly have been in the tech world for 6 years, and I'm currently in Meta and Facebook, as what it used to be called. But I come from other tech firms as well in the past, in operations and strategy, in Uber Eats and GrabFood. I, however, did not actually set out to be here in tech, but actually come from the banking world before I decided to make the move to tech operations in the earlier part of my career. And actually, I never looked back. So I think firstly, I think the question is like, why tech, right? I think for me, two things. I think firstly there was always an opportunity to always constantly be learning. I mean, remember how we went from sending an SMS in 160 characters before we got WhatsApp or Telegram, where it never mattered how many words we had in a message. I mean, I used to send my mom saying, I'm here in this place, I'm here in that place. And my dad said I used to waste so much money every time I send an SMS, but that never mattered with WhatsApp or Telegram. And I think using that analogy, I think being in the tech world, it is constantly innovating. We constantly have to be upgrading our skill sets and keeping up with the time. And which is why, I'm never bored being in the tech world. It's like being on a rocket ship, but right at the front seat. I think secondly as well, having the impact in the real world. I think this is evident in the choice of companies that I've made and the role of having trying to marry what I love in tech and having an impact in the real world. I mean, think about the last time, we texted someone on our mobile phone or we searched something on Google. I mean, do we even say search anymore now? We say, let me Google and then I'll come back to you. It's very strange and how, it becomes so ingrained in your day-to-day life, and being part of that world is super rewarding for me. So I think being in tech also has given me a lot of opportunity to work with folks such as fresh graduates and folks from other industries as well who wants to venture into tech, who was not trained in tech, but wants to try something new. And because it's a rewarding experience that is not only beneficial for my mentee, but to myself as well. You just learn so much from each other. I would say, my mentees have graduated since they have gotten a permanent placement, but once in a while they still reach out and say that, hey, how are you doing? Or, they still have some issues trying to make some decisions in their day-to-day work. They still drop me a message. And, that camaraderie that we have with each other, like Kurby mentioned as well, it's something that you can't really get, and having that first-hand insight from someone who's been in the industry is something that I would say, it's something that is super useful. Again, I'm not paid to say this, but I thought, even for myself, before I venture into that role, having a mentor really helped me a lot. And so a lot of my discussions with my mentees are geared towards what is life like in tech, what type of people do tech companies look for, what skill set should I have. We see how all these questions are more inquisitive towards how the tech world is, and also the challenges that folks coming from all different walks of life face. So in our conversations, we steer towards managing some of this apprehension while venturing into the unknown. I mean, it's common and it's normal for us to feel this way. So having someone else to chat generally about how big the tech companies work, working out structure of your resume, your LinkedIn content, having to prepare for interviews as well. And what is this job about? What are they asking about? What are the potential questions as well? And, to something as complex as how do we manage a difficult stakeholder? How can we collaborate better? To something as simple as just being a listening ear. I mean, we don't know everything, but, we sometimes, we try to be a listening ear to those when you are coming through a crossroads or you're trying to make a decision in your career or in your day-to-day in your work as well. And most of the time, you have these answers within yourselves, but talking it out, makes you gain a new perspective as well, as how mentorship has been for me.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much, Aznita. Learned a lot from your sharing. Yeah, that's true. Tech is like never changing and never ending with evolution and changes. Like also nostalgic. I remember typing like, oh, I have 160 spaces left to text. It's imagine how things evolve. And yeah, thanks for sharing. That's really great. So keep the questions coming. Type in the Q&A. Take advantage that our panelists are here. If you have specific questions for them, mention their names. So let's go to Q&A portion now. So there's a question from Kayan here. For someone with no tech background, it's quite daunting that the theory part is done in just 3 months. The bootcamp is quite then followed by the internship of 6 months. I'm a little concerned. What if we can learn and digest everything during the 3 months? Maybe either Francis or Lina can take on this question.
Okay, maybe I'll take that simply because coding really is a huge challenge if you have no background. But that said, what happens is the curriculum is very focused. So they really like try to feed everything into 3 short months, and it's very, very intense, but simply because it's very focused. So for example, maybe like 2 days, we totally just focus on HTML, and then we do a really deep dive, and then we move on to CSS, and it progresses. So what happens is that we are gently introduced because like HTML and CSS, it's scripting, so it's not as daunting. And then slowly we move more into codes like JavaScript and then Java. And then eventually, depending on how fast we are able to move, right? Sometimes we do get like special extras. Like I don't think we were supposed to touch on React, but then simply because we had time, so that's a bonus. So those are things that we really appreciate, because if we're not comfortable, then whether it's a trainer or whether it's Generation, they are very open to really tweaking the program so that for example, if the entire cohort is like, okay, can we go faster? Then we'll go faster. But if not, then it's like, by all means, we don't have to really like blaze a trail. And like what I mentioned, the trainer and Generation, they are always open to whoever needs help. You just really have to reach out. So what I always tell, because like I had a sharing session with cohort 2 as well, is that don't suffer in silence, because if you don't reach out, no one knows that you can't catch up. But if you reach out, you realize that there are actually a lot of people who will help you. Like even when I was in the boot camp, I mean, like maybe I have a thick skin, so I would just be like, for example, David, can you help me with this? And then yeah, so I'll just like reach out, simply because you will realize that some people are better than others, and generally they are very willing to help. So yeah, just reach out.
Great, thank you, Lina. Yeah, don't suffer in silence. There's always help. Yeah, Francis, you may also want to share.
Okay, so the reality in my class is that 3/4 of my class do not have a zero or very little coding background. But because of the good guidance of the teachers and the mentors, and going through the logics of coding, so that helps a lot. And at the same time, we are also all encouraged to like study in a team. So we have a lot of teamwork, and we share knowledge with each other, and that actually helps me tremendously. As I said just now, I do not have any coding experience, so I really learned most of it from, I would say maybe at least 50% of the knowledge I acquired is actually through fellow classmates. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much, Francis. Okay, we have another question. What's our head count of our successful applicants for the upcoming full stack program? Maybe Hadija, you want to share, or maybe are you asking the most intake for? Hawa, just want to confirm. Maybe the most recent closed cohort. Yes, okay, so intake 4, we have about 30 in the cohort. For the next one, well, we haven't opened the application yet. So another question here, do we have to revalidate the Microsoft BI Data Analyst certification a couple of years down the road? Maybe any of our mentors can answer that question. It's about certification, about revalidation.
I'm not super familiar with the Microsoft BI certification, but obviously, like with any certification, there's always different tiers and different levels, right? Like, again, it all depends on the actual certification that you'll be taking. But what I would advise is that check the details of that certification. Like some certifications, especially for tech, do expire over time because it's not because that what you learn sort of is useless, but it's because the technology just keeps evolving, right? And they recertify you based on the new stuff, just to make sure that, you know, if you want to continue to hold on to that certificate, right, you kind of have to learn the new stuff. That's typically how certifications are designed. Yeah. So again, you know, I know it's not a straight up answer, but that's in general. Like, so in most general tech industries that provide certifications, definitely look out for, like, you know, newer ones. In fact, don't even worry about like your current one when it expires, but like look out for new ones, because like I said, right, in the tech industry, you have to continue to like learn to keep yourself relevant. Like I've been in the industry 20 years and I'm still learning. So definitely, like, you know, look up for the new certifications as soon as it's out. If it's relevant to your work, definitely go for the recertification of those type of, you know, certifications that you want to pursue.
Okay, great. Thank you, Kurby. Any other more questions? Just want to make sure that some of your questions are already being answered by Hadija and Huishan. Okay, keep the questions coming. Okay, Hazira is asking, is job placement confirmed for all students? Maybe Huishan, you want to take this question?
Sure. Sorry, I didn't see the question. I don't want to be very precise.
Yeah, it's job placement confirmed for all the learners.
Okay. So I want to be very careful here. When we say job placement, I think it could be two things. So there's full-time employment, but there's also apprenticeship. So we do offer apprenticeship, which is up to 6 months, and that's after the 3 months boot camp. And that will be something that Generation will help to facilitate. We have about 40 over companies right now on the network. So they will take you in as an apprentice for up to 6 months. And once that is over, Generation will be here to help you with job placement support as well, because this is what we do. So again, we might match you with some of our employer partners, and hopefully you'll land a full-time job. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you, Wishan. Thanks, Azira, for that question. And just to add on that, your job placement support, Generation will always be there to support you. Your mentors are guiding you. We have employment placement clinics. And just like Khadija shared earlier, 75% of our intake one have already found full-time jobs and or converted to their host companies. But then again, of course, at the end of the day, it's not Generation's decision, if the employer will hire you or not. So that's why we want to make sure you're supported, you know very well how to answer the interviews, build your LinkedIn portfolios, like what our mentors have shared. Okay, yeah, Kurby, yes, you can give some advice based on your experience with your mentors.
So
sure.
I think don't think of the program as a guaranteed having a job, right? Like it's a stepping stone. So among my two mentees, one ended up getting converted in the company that she was doing apprenticeship in. The other one totally found a new opportunity, right? And the opportunity that she found may not be purely tech related, but because the company hired her, because they knew that over and above her previous experience as non-tech, she now has this tech dimension, and they valued that two type of experiences that would contribute into their own businesses. So I would say anybody's career is in your hands. However, Generations give you that kind of like a springboard, right? Like instead of you having to kind of like learn Python, learn JavaScript, learn all these different things. Like they give you that springboard so that you can then, have that leap. I mean, I would say just relying on generations alone and then say that, okay, I'm now an expert JDE or I'm now an expert in the full data stack. I would say that's not enough. Like that only gives you that baseline so that you can then go into the industry. And then once you're in, you have to continue to develop yourself. I'm pretty sure Lina and Francis in their own companies, they continue to learn as well. Because like the tech just keeps changing. Like if I stop learning, I'll be like obsolete, right? So that's my one advice. Don't think of generations as the end in itself, but like it's a stepping stone and it helps you to springboard into where you want to go.
Awesome. Thank you, Kurby, for adding on that. Yes, we're the springboard here to support you and hold your hand all the way until you find a full-time employment. At the end of the day, that is our success story. We want you to be placed in full-time jobs. Anyone else wants to add on that? Lina or Francis, about your journey of your being converted to full-time role in your host companies? Or maybe I don't want to ask you this, my personal question. Did you also were you also applying to other jobs while you were on apprenticeship? Because when you start your apprenticeship, it's not a guarantee, right, that you will be converted to a full-time role instead. So maybe you want to share on your personal journey of that?
Okay, maybe I'll start and then Francis will carry on. Yeah. So for my role, I mean, even though I took JFSD, I didn't end up as a coder. So it's more of like a product owner, project manager. But that said, what happens is like what Kurby mentioned, the tech training was a very strong springboard, like literally, because even my line manager, he said, yes, technically, you don't really need all this expertise. But then if I place you next to a candidate, obviously I will choose you simply because you understand tech. And then when you're speaking to the vendors or you're talking to coders, programmers, you would know, like, are they trying to pull the wool over your eyes, or are they being very frank? Like, for example, like, why do you need 10 days to do one line of code? Yeah. So, and then as for, because I guess I'm lucky simply because the expectations like almost totally matched between what I wanted and what they were looking for. So initially there was a bit of hesitancy simply because when we were thrown into the deep end, then so there were actually two of us, and we couldn't really understand what they were doing because they were doing a lot of things. So for us, right, at first when we went in, it was like, okay, we are going to go do coding. And then it's like, first day, no coding. Second day, no coding. It's like, okay, what are we doing? So I guess in a way, to ease our own way, what we did was firstly, Generation had this learning pathway program, as in like a spreadsheet. So we shared that with our manager, and then he was like, okay, this is good, this is not relevant. Yep. So then, I mean, along the way, then he always had check-ins, and like, in fact, the door is always open. Like if you want to check in as well, then you can just reach out to him. So then first, I mean, I like coding, but at the end of the day, I want to work with people as well. So coding, I mean, yes, there's a lot of teamwork, but then most of the time, I would imagine that you're really sitting there and coding and not really talking to people unless like the project requires you to do that. So then I threw out, right, that it didn't really strike me that I needed to really like look at other things, like should I be looking at, since the bootcamp was on coding and everything, like would I waste my 3 months if I don't like give myself a chance? But then what I realized is that even though it's mostly product, but then what happens is that I do end up looking at code sometimes because some of the jobs that I have to do is like UAT. So UAT is like for example, if it's an app or if a mobile site, and then it's like, why isn't it displaying properly and things like that, then I can just like open up the panel and then say, okay, that line of code is wrong. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Lina. Francis, anything you wish to share?
Yeah. I would say that the learning never ends even after the boot camp. But the boot camp taught me a very important thing. They teach me how to learn. So I learned to learn continuously to learn. So after I finished the bootcamp in the apprenticeship, so the projects were even bigger. It's no more classroom projects, so it's even bigger projects that push you to apply the way you learn, to explore and then uncover the solution to the problem. So for my case, the company already assumed that I know the basic of coding, and I know how to be independent to solve the problem, the projects. What they value more from me is actually my domain experience in my past employment. So when merged with that domain experience and technical background that the technical learning I got from the bootcamp, put this together, actually we can actually impress the company quite a lot. So I actually benefited from that, and also one of the key driver for me being converted to a full-time employment in the company.
Great. Thank you. Wonderful. Thank you, Francis. Just being mindful of time. It's 8:34. So yeah, see all the questions. Most of the questions are being answered by Khadija and Vishan in the chat. So yeah, just want to also reiterate, most of you are asking like, oh, is it just purely about tech assessment? What do we look for choosing applicants? So just want to reinforce it that we evaluate applications holistically. We look at your motivation, your technical readiness, also on the impact on the program to your professional and personal life, because like what we have mentioned, we are mindful of choosing our applicants and the learners that on Generation, our mission is that we really want to serve the underserved job seekers. So if we feel that the applicant can, you can find the job on your own, or you can upskill on your own if you're capable, then it's not our target kind of profile. So just we want to reiterate on that. So yeah. So maybe any last words from our panelists before we close? Any final one-liner word from Aznita, Kurby, Lina, and Francis before we end our session?
I guess, don't restrict yourself and don't undersell yourself either. I think the tech world is for anybody, even if you don't have any tech background, as long as there's interest and they are passionate about it. I think, it's a good place to be.
Thank you, Aznita. Anyone wants to go next?
One line: don't stop learning, whether you're in generations or not. It's a tagline that I always believe.
Don't stop learning. Thank you, Kurby. Lina, Francis, you're on mute, so you can.
Okay. All my classmates has made it. You can make it too.
You can make it too. Awesome. Thank you, Francis. And Lina?
I really don't know how to top that though. Okay, maybe like just words of advice, like it is very normal to doubt yourself throughout the journey, whether it's during the bootcamp, whether it's during your apprenticeship, but then really just focus on what you're doing at that point in time, and then you will find your way.
Awesome. Thank you, Lina. You will find your way. Thank you. So thank you so much, panelists. Thank you so much, participants. Like what Khadija mentioned, we hope to see your applications. So even if it's not a closing deadline yet, once we fill the spaces for a program, we may have to stop applications. So we hope that you will send your applications. And we also appreciate if you can spend some time. So there's a link here that Khadija shared. So if you can spend a minute or two for this brief survey for the session. So this is the link. So before you exit, we would really appreciate hearing your feedback. Thank you so much, Bernice. You're most welcome. Thank you for attending. Thank you, and we appreciate that we extended a little bit. If you have any more questions you think that was not addressed in the session, you can send us an email. Email address here. Okay, great. Yeah, thanks, Khadija. So this is our email. Okay, so it's 8:38. Thank you so much. It's been a great and wonderful session. Thank you, Francis, Lina, Aznita, Kurby, and all the participants. Okay, have a
Thank you,
wonderful
Leslie.
evening. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye.